When it comes to Vincent van Gogh, what comes to your mind? Of course, the ear incident, that many people across history have labeled him as insane and mentally disturbed for. But in my recent travels to Holland and to the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, I've learned countless personal information in regards to Van Gogh's personal life and to his paintings. After returning home from vacation, I spent many hours researching theories and reasonings as to why Van Gogh would have done this to himself, or why he did this to himself. I also found out different personal information as well, that Van Gogh had a younger brother named Theo, that he grew very fond of and had a strong relationship with, that he had moved to South France with a man named Paul Gauguin to start his painting career, that he didn't start until he was about 27 years old, and that he had passed away at the age of 37, and that he had been labeled a failure to his peers, that because he had no wife, no kids, and was very socially awkward. We know, because of a police report and from newspaper clippings, that on December 24th, 1889, that Vincent van Gogh was found in his home, severely bleeding from his head because he had cut off part of his ear and had brought it to a local prostitute named Rachel and told her to keep this with great care because he had loved her and had grew very fond of her. So, what exactly happened? The first theory, because of a written letter signed by Mr. Gauguin, that Vincent van Gogh grew frustrated with Mr. Gauguin because of his many friends, his social interactions, and his fantastic ways to socialize with other people. Vincent van Gogh became enraged with Mr. Gauguin, and even took it to the extreme by trying to stab Mr. Gauguin early in the morning and trying to murder him. After Mr. Gauguin found Vincent van Gogh trying to kill him, he slowly walked past Mr. van Gogh and gave him a stare of disappointment. It says that Mr. van Gogh was so disappointed in himself and embarrassed that he tried cutting off his ear in pure apologetic reasons towards Mr. van Gogh. The second theory is that Theo had just become engaged. His brother Theo was his only social interaction and his only friend that he had in his life. After missing countless holidays, it is rumored that Mr. van Gogh tried removing his ear in an attempt to bring his brother's attention back to him. The third theory, because of the documented ways of how Mr. van Gogh was medically proven to have mental illness, is that Mr. van Gogh was hearing voices because of hallucinations. Because Mr. van Gogh thought that he could fix the hallucinations, he tried cutting off his own ear to stop the voices in his head. This was proven by doctors and it was documented because he was a schizophrenic and he had many mental problems. The fourth theory was that in his hometown there was a tradition that the Manitou is given the ear of the bull as a reward of the crown, and that is given to the lady of his choice to show his love and affection to, which is explained as Rachel, the local prostitute. He must have cut off his ear in an attempt to give to Rachel to show his unwinding love and affection for her, and this theory was based off William Runyon's documented online. With all of these theories being said, although Vincent van Gogh was a fantastic painter, we know not much about him. There's many underlining things as to why he might have cut off parts of his ear, but we'll never know the true reasoning as to why he must have done this to himself.